This is going to be a video going over the Norinco MAK-90. This video is for people who want to know a little bit more about the rifle, not only the MAK-90 itself, but also about Chinese rifles in general, because they are different from standard AKM pattern rifles. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the rifle. It's pretty similar to a standard AKM. And obviously we have our front sight block, gas block, hand guards. Has a rock and lock magazine. Magazine's empty, obviously. Rifle is clear, as you can see. So, looks really similar to probably any other AK you might see around. This is Chinese furniture on it. It did not come with this furniture. We'll get into that a little bit after kind of going over it some. So starting off, let's go into a little bit of history about it. So the Norinco MAK-90 is a post-ban, quote unquote, post-ban version of the Chinese Type 56. Before the Norinco MAK-90, there was the Type 56 rifles that were imported into the US. You may have heard of Polytech. That was a really big importer of these rifles, and they're extremely collectible. In 1989, there were further restrictions in imports. They were basically trying to keep assault rifles or assault weapons, whatever terminology they would call semi-automatic rifles at the time, that they deemed to be dangerous, not have a sporting purpose, or overall just something that the government did not want civilians to have in their hands easily. MAK-90 means Modified AK 1990. That's where the name comes from. And they were modified to get rid of the features that were restricted under the new import guidelines. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the features of the MAK-90, or more like the absence of certain features. So we'll start at the front. Here we have the front sight block, and the muzzle is not threaded. It may look like it's threaded, but that's just the profile of the barrel. It is not threaded. If you wanted a muzzle brake, a suppressor, any other muzzle device, you would need to take this to someone, or if you're skilled enough, thread this yourself. But as is, MAK-90s were imported without any threads on the muzzle for a muzzle device. Front sight block is missing two fangs that came down off the front, and that was for retaining the cleaning rod. Obviously there's no cleaning rod on this rifle. They were imported without them. And even if you look at the handguard retainer, there's no hole for a cleaning rod to even be inserted. If you wanted a cleaning rod on your rifle, you would need to either drill the hole yourself or get a standard Type 56 lower handguard retainer with a hole already in it. Gas block is missing the bayonet lug, obviously. It's been flattened down, and we have pretty standard AK handguards, upper and lower. Gas block, that's pretty normal AK. Chinese AKs are gonna have a white colored bolt carrier group as opposed to a black one like standard AKMs usually have. Any MAK-90 that was imported can accept standard AK magazines. They were imported with some 5-round magazines, 10-round magazines, even there's some 20-round magazines that are a little rare, but they can accept standard AK mags without any altering. No filing down the mag catch, no opening up the mag well. They were imported ready to accept a standard 30-round AK magazine. The MAK-90s were imported with these thumbhole stocks. This one, obviously, I took the thumbhole stock off and I swapped it with standard Type 56 pistol grip and a standard Type 56 buttstock. There's two types of MAK-90 receiver cuts. There's standard Type 56 straight cut, and then there is the slant cut. MAK-90s were imported with these thumbhole stocks on them, and a lot of them are still going to have them attached. So these thumbhole stocks were to get away from having a stock and pistol grip separate from each other, which was a feature of assault weapons or restricted weapons for import. These were two features that could not be on the rifle. If you're looking at a MAK-90 that still has the regular thumbhole stock on it, this thumbhole stock is going to cover up that part of the receiver. So you really won't know what you're getting until you take the thumbhole stock off. That way you can actually see if this cut is there or not. So if you're buying one of these rifles, I would strongly recommend you know whether or not it's a earlier import standard straight cut or if it's a later import slant cut, just so you know what you're getting into exactly. Because if it's a slant cut, you're going to be able to see the inside of the stock that you usually wouldn't see, or you're going to have to get whatever stock you have and you're going to have to basically bring it back a little bit and alter the stock so that way it sits flush with the receiver, because a standard AKM stock or a Type 56 stock is not going to fit flush into a slant cut receiver, obviously. You can see on the side, there's the Norinco logo. Not every rifle is going to have a Norinco logo, and they're not all going to have the Norinco logo in the same spot. Some of them might just say made in China on them. Some of them might not say anything on them. It really depends on what batch it came from and what year it came in. Also, the front sight is a hooded Chinese pattern, which if you're trying to tell if a rifle's Chinese or not, looking at the front sight is a pretty good tell. Chinese pattern rifles usually had a hooded front sight. A regular AKM does not have a hood on it, as standard AKMs just have a kind of half moon cutout for the front sight. So something to look at if you're trying to tell if a rifle's a Chinese pattern or not. Regular run-of-the-mill MAK-90 is going to be anywhere from $900 to $1,300, based on condition, obviously, and anything that may be extra that comes with it. So that's just a general idea of the cost of these rifles. So this is a stamped receiver example of a MAK-90. They also have milled receiver examples, and they also have underfolder stamped examples. Other than the MAK-90, you had other imports such as the NHM rifles, which you had the NHM 90 and the NHM 91, and then you also had the MAK-91. The 91 rifles are basically RPK versions. They have a longer RPK barrel on them. So if you see those around, just know that they are not MAK-90s. There are a few different styles. Comparing this to a regular AKM, how you can differentiate a standard AKM between a Chinese pattern is your front sight block. Obviously, said it before, but your front sight is hooded. That's a really easy tell to see if a rifle is a Chinese pattern. And then also your front sight is going to be wider than a standard AKM. It's more like an AK-47 Type 2 and 3 front sight than it is a AKM pattern. The furniture, unless it's been swapped out, is going to be this Chinese wood furniture or Chicom furniture. This is laminated wood furniture, but it's really kind of easy to tell from the pattern. It has this really straight grain to it. You can see right here. Look out for this kind of orange color, and then the grain being this kind of straight, really simple straight grain. That's an easy to tell. Chinese pattern rifles are going to have white colored carriers. There are some other AKs that do have white carriers, but that's just one way to tell it away from a standard AKM pattern rifle. Serbian or Yugo pattern AKs are going to have white carriers as well, like Z-Paps and M-Paps, O-Paps, anything from Zastava really. You're going to find they have the white bolt as well. WBP will have white colored bolts, but it's not the only white colored bolt you're going to find, but it is very typical of Chinese AKs to have a white colored bolt. Your rivet pattern is going to differ a little bit from a standard AKM. On a standard AKM, you have your two front trunnion rivets kind of back to back right in front of each other. Stamped receiver rifles, you're going to have your front rivet kind of offset going down almost in the middle of the front of the receiver, and then your rear trunnion rivet is going to be right there a little bit above, pretty much where it would be on a standard AKM. So that's pretty much it. I hope anyone watching who wanted more information on the rifles got the information they were looking for. Even if you just came to kind of check it out, hopefully you learned something. And if anyone else has more information or something I didn't cover, or even something that I may have gotten wrong or not went into enough, feel free to leave a comment. I'll pin any comment that is giving out good information. Information is super important, especially if you're looking to purchase one of these rifles. You should really know exactly what you're looking for and what you're getting, and overall just have a basic understanding of the rifle that you're buying. So, hope you enjoyed, and happy shooting.